Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 111 of Man and Machine here with the PeakBot team and Mark from Harvested Financial. Happy St. Patrick's Day, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Doing good. Happy St. Patty's Day. Did you have any corned beef and cabbage over the weekend?
Mark, did you?
I did. Yes, of course.
Nice.
Okay. Who
Did
cooked
we
it?
all?
What did you prepare it, or was this prepared by a loved one, or was this out?
This was out. But this evening I will be preparing my own Irish feast. Not going with the traditional corned beef and cabbage, but going to do a classic Dublin pork and potato stew.
All right.
Oh, man. Coming over. You got an extra seat?
Sure do. Come on down. I got two.
Careful what you wish
Beautiful.
for. Ben and
I'm
I
going to
will
show
get
up on
in
your
the car.
doorstep.
Excellent. No, I didn't have any. My parents went to a party and I got leftover like pierogies and a couple other like nice things. I'm not even sure how Irish that is, but those always seem to be cooked at with all these celebrations. But anyway,
If it's got potato in it, it's got to be
it's got
Irish.
potato in it. Exactly. It qualifies. I'll tell you what, 10 years ago, I would have been probably hungover today, after the weekend. I did nothing. I don't think I consumed a single alcoholic beverage. Maybe we'll make up for that tonight. Maybe I'll get a Guinness or something. But anyway, Ben, did you do anything to celebrate?
Yeah, no. I'm not a fan of cabbage, first of all.
Yeah.
Corned beef is good, but the smell of cabbage
Just doesn't get it for you.
Turns me off.
Well, before we move into the show, I did ask ChatGPT to make us I brought this up backstage. I didn't get a single comment about it, so I'm having my moment here. I did ask ChatGPT to make us a, happy St. Patrick's Day post with a leprechaun finding PeakBot at the end of the rainbow. This is what we've got. The spelling is good. I would have, taken a little more time we need a nice little robot guy. We have one that we use. But anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
I like the one on the right.
This one's weird. It kind of turned into a floating crab bot. We got claws all of a sudden here. And then I think there was one other version here. This one was also the green beard here threw me off a little bit. But but anyway, happy St. Patrick's to all you retail traders out there. We got a great show today. We got stocks in real life. We're going to learn a little something with Mark. And then we'll take a look at the SPY, maybe do a little SPY analysis, talk about some economic events coming up this week. And at some point, we'll take a quick look at PeakBot picks as well. So, gentlemen, let's get into it. Yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So
Perfect.
Starting off with stocks in real life. Give me 1 second while I get that pulled up.
While you're pulling it up, for those of you who may be first-time listeners here, PeakBot's an easy-to-use automated trading platform for the retail trader. Mark Phillips from Harvested Financial is our partner and an RIA who uses our strategies to automate and execute trades for his clients. So we work together very well in with that partnership. And if you want more information, we'll make sure that it's up at the bottom here at peakbot.com/harvested professionally managed portfolios. However, let's talk about it. HP, Make it matter. Keep reinventing. I think we need a period, a comma, or a dash there or something. But HP, what are our thoughts? I mean, this is a good one.
I'm not gonna tell HP about grammar. By the way, Doug is back. Welcome back, Doug.
Hey, Doug. Good to see you. I'm operating on an HP right now. I have an HP laptop. I have an HP monitor. I'm surrounded by HP. What about you guys? Mark, you an HP guy?
I actually do believe I am operating on an HP also.
Nice.
I have a Dell for my laptop, but my desktop is an HP.
Okay.
I will shortly be in the market for a new one. So this is very apropos.
Okay. Nice. How often do you find yourself buying a new computer?
My desktop, I think I've got about 6 years on.
Okay.
So that's starting to hit the limit.
Yeah.
The RAM is all fine. I got enough space or anything, but it just feels like after that, 5 or 6 year period, there's just cruft that builds up that I'm not technical enough to know what, technical arteries are getting clogged down there, but it does feel like it's got some decay and buildup in there.
I call it planned obsolescence. That's the thing. That
yes,
your machines are built to die.
Yeah, they are. We're getting phased out. Ben, you actually helped me with my last computer. I, went and built it on HP's, HP.com and built this custom computer, which is fun. But anyway, HPQ, we're going to get into this. We'll talk about the stock. I'd love to know if Mark has had experiences with this, if this has found its way into your portfolio ever, you think?
No, I actually never really traded HP that much, or HPQ, I should say.
All right, we're going to take a closer look and see what it's doing on the watch list. Ben, has this found its way into your portfolio? I think it maybe comes up on trend spread.
Yeah, it comes up every once in a while. I know I've traded it a couple of times. Actually, I don't know if it was on Tradier that I traded it, but if I go to my activity, HPQ, yeah,
not there.
So it might have been on a different broker. So that means that was a while ago. That was before I moved everything over to Tradier that I was trading HP. From what I remember, it doesn't pay the best premiums, but that doesn't mean it's not tradable.
Let me tell you what, been around a long time. I'm going to look when they actually IPO'd. We kind of do this on our episodes now. Any guesses on when HP went public?
Late 90s.
I was in 98.
Yeah, you guys are way off.
Way off.
Wow. Way off.
HP might have IPO'd before I was born.
I think so. 1957, HP goes public.
Wow.
Selling shares at $16 a share. I hate to say it's not too far from there now. It's trading at, I think, 28. So yeah, HP went public in 1957, at least just according to my Google search here, with a market cap of 49 million at the time. The reasons for IPO: to help with estate planning for the founders, to enable employees to share in the company's success.
They were running calculators back then. Those were
microwave equipment. Yeah, calculators, which in here is not even called a calculator on my Google search. It's called an electronic counter. Interesting. Okay, measuring devices, oscillators, vacuum. All right, so HP's been doing things for quite a while here. I don't know if they're making calculators anymore, but they've certainly
HP 12C is like the benchmark. I mean, before there were TI-83s, there were HP 12Cs.
Didn't know this.
So Ben might have run across. They're a very accounting-focused calculator. Have you ever used one of them?
I haven't. I've heard of them, but I haven't.
The thing about them is you enter like logic into a regular calculator and you say 4 plus 3 equals, and it gives you 7.
Yeah.
There's something about the logic, and I'm going to get it wrong, but I'm sure someone out there who's watching can correct me, that when you're using an HP 12C, like the order of operations is different. And it's meant to be aligned with I believe it's an accounting design calculator. So those things were the benchmark for nerds through the 60s and 70s.
That's so funny. So we're talking, they're not following PEMDAS, is what you're saying? They're not following the normal order?
Oh, PEMDAS, nice. I should have come more prepared, but there's definitely something funky I remember about like the order of operations with them. But they're very powerful.
Yeah, okay, there it is.
HP
one of the early
12C.
views. Okay, Hewlett-Packard early electronic counter here. All right, whoa, some formulas on there. We got options Greeks on there. So, all right, very cool. Now,
so here's actually what it's technically called. It's called reverse Polish notation, and where operators follow their operands, meaning you enter numbers first, then operators. There are no parentheses buttons, and the order of operations is implied by the order of the inputs. So you have to enter them in your own PEMDAS, logic.
That
sounds like a lot of extra work.
Yeah.
Like I think you do like 5 enter, 5 enter, 5 enter, and then you hit plus, and that'll give you 15.
Wow. Okay. All right. Hey, this is a good fun fact here. I was not aware of this. I did, in the meantime, look to see if HPQ is on the trend spread watch list. It's not at the moment. However, I did pull it up here, and I'll.
Is it on wheel by any chance?
It's not on wheel either. I just checked. However, I know it was recently. Here's why. I have a line drawn at 31. So at some point, this was on the watch list. I was thinking about it I'm not sure if it was a sold call or a sold put at the time, but I was looking to take a glance at a $31 strike. Now, here's the stock all time. All right, we're going back. The data goes back to 68. Pretty nice looking chart over time, wouldn't you guys say? I mean, this is not bad. This is some nice, consistent, long-term growth. Obviously, some big drawdowns here at the in 2000, Y2K, 2010. But all right, so we're trading right around $28 right now. We've had some consolidation, it looks like, since 2021, trading somewhere between 23 and $36. Just zooming in here a little bit, that's not helpful. Here's the last 6 months on the stock. It looks like we've been bearish since a big drop here on some bad earnings back in October. No, I'm sorry, end of November. So haven't been so hot since then. Was trading right under $39, it looks like, and have since been falling a bit back down under the $30 mark. I don't believe I've ever traded HPQ. I'm going to look up some more stats here and to see how they've been performing. Look at some of the technicals. Right now, not a good week. Looks like, at least from a technical standpoint, we'd want to be
call credit spreads.
Some call credit spreads, bearish. I mean, call credit spreads. Not a single buy signal. That's fun. Maybe Ben, you can pull up the chain or something. I'm not sure. Again, not on the watch list at the moment. Normally, when I'm looking at stocks, even in this crazy market we've had, when I click on the month, we typically find our ways back to neutral or bullish. We're not doing that here. So maybe HP will continue to fall. Take a look at the analyst ratings here. Not too many. 17 analyst ratings giving it 13 giving it a hold, 3 giving a strong buy, 1 giving a strong sell. The 1-year forecasts, at least on here, which, take it for what you will, doesn't seem going much lower. Actually see a lot of opportunity here over the next year, maybe getting back to some recent highs. But anyway, what are your guys' thoughts here? What else is there? What do we want to look at on HP?
I've got the chain pulled up if we want to take a look at that, just to show why this isn't on the PeakBot watch list. And if we look at Delta, I'm just going to look at the put side. We could look at the call side as well. But basically, the at-the-money strike is right above the 30 Delta. And the way that the trend spread bot works and wheel is it looks for the strike that is closest to but lower than the 30 Delta. So we would go down to this $27 strike here. And as a result of that, we would only get about 7 cents in premium. We'd have to pay back in about 4 cents in hedge to create that spread. So we'd only net out like 3 or 4 cents. And I think the threshold for the watch list is about 10 cents. So it's not showing 10 cents. It's not going to show up on the watch list. Doesn't mean it's not tradable, but definitely not a lot of meat on the bone, considering you're putting up $1 of risk in order to just earn 4 cents. There's likely better options out there for you. Not financial advice, but you can use the watch list to help you make your decisions. We got a joke coming in. Makes sense.
Thank you, Doug.
Same thing on the call side, right?
Yeah.
The basically the at the money delta or at the money strike is at a 32 delta, just above our threshold of 30. So if we were to go 1 strike below the 129.50, that would get us about 11 cents. And then if we were to sell below the 10, that would create another $1 spread for about 7 cents there. So in either direction, not really earning enough premium.
Okay. And while you were looking at that, I was actually pulling some more stats. Looks like year to date down just about 14.5% down from the 32.50 mark. Reported a revenue of 13.5 billion. in the first quarter here. Small increase over last year. They're kind of getting in the mix with this whole tariff stuff, with China as well, being a lot of goods are manufactured over there. So it looks like a shaky few months for HP, maybe a few more of them in the future here. But Mark, any other thoughts? I don't know if you've looked at vol or any of those stats for the stock. But
yeah, well, one other point of clarity too, right, is we're talking about HPQ, but there's also HPE. And going back to 2015, that's when they split, and there was a corporate action that spun off their enterprise business from their standard, I think, retail computing business. So I forget all the details of the split, but there are actually two Hewlett-Packard stocks that are out there.
Interesting.
Didn't know that. Here's HPE. You're right. Trading about 1560. Okay. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah, so that's been around for a little bit longer. They both trade relatively similar volumes. You're getting 10 to 15 out of these, maybe a little bit, 10 to 15,000 contracts a day out of these, maybe a little more around earnings. But both are kind of in that like medium to low liquidity of the top, 200-ish names in the market. Spreads are a little bit wide in there, but, the consistent volumes, vol in HPE is a little bit higher than in HPQ. HPE, we're looking at vols in like the 40-ish range, whereas 40 to 50 range, whereas HPQ, that's, 20s most of the time, 40 around like an earnings event. So as you were seeing with some of the options prices, like there isn't, crazy high premium in this despite being, a tech name.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm going to keep an eye on it on the trend spread watch list. Again, right now, not enough meat on the bone. It's not going to find its way on our watch list if it's not paying $10 in premium. Bot would still trade it if it was on there down to 5 cents in premium, earning $5. But yeah. Any other thoughts on HPQ or HPE or HP in general?
If anyone has any recommendations for a computer, I'm happy to take advice or suggestions there.
You may want to talk to Ben. I'm not saying Ben has all the answers, but he helped me. He helped me out, but I was starting at zero. I needed the help. But excellent. All right, very cool. Moving on, fellas.
Moving on. Cool. Actually, Dillon, I just realized we didn't go over the winner for PeakBot picks last week.
Well, funny you want to go over that, because spoiler. Let's do it. Ben did have a good week. I'll pull up the PeakBot picks tracker here. All right, and then okay, Ben's got it up. Perfect. Why don't you zoom on in and go through your picks last week?
I will do that. So last weekend we were looking at this on Friday. I already won all three of my positions, just saying. By the time we talked about this on Friday. 3 for 3, went with Qualcomm, bear credit spread, UVXY, and TZA, both bull credit spreads. I collected $58, $65, and $30 in premium at the open on those trades. I closed out. I took profit. Actually, the bot took profit early for me. Closed down QCOM, UVXY on what day? It was closed on the 11th, which was a Tuesday. And then TZA was closed on the 12th, which was last Wednesday. So those tickers didn't even have a chance to lose. Took that profit off the table. Very nice. And putting together a nice little win streak here after that brutal TXN loss to start the competition. But happy with where we are headed. Also want to call out my silver position a couple weeks ago where I was in the money. I did let myself get assigned those shares. Those shares did pop back up in price because I was bullish on those. I wanted to hold on that. I wanted to stick to that theory. I did. I sold those. I was assigned those shares at $29. I sold them at, I think, $29.45. So made some money off of that as well, turning that position into a win. But overall, 3 for 3 this past week. And putting together a nice little streak here.
Love that, dude. Stay hot.
I love it almost as much as I love this background music we got vibing now.
Yeah, a little. This is called Into Space, Volume 22. This might be the sweet spot. Yeah. So Ben, I love seeing you have success in a pretty bearish week with 2 put spreads out of 3. And looking back at your win streak there, I would say your call spreads and put spreads are about even.
But I'll tell you what, UVXY and TZA, those are inverse ETFs. So even though I was bullish, I was only bullish because they are bearish on the market overall.
Very good point. Thank you for calling that out. So let's take a look. I went, we'll call it a controversial 2 for 3. The reason being I was assigned on my Walmart position on the wheel, and I'm getting hurt on that pretty bad. We're looking at these 3 trades here. Okay, so I got assigned on Walmart. I sold a combo spread. Okay, so a sold call, bought put. All right, I collected $34 in premium, closed out at 31, stayed out of the money the whole time. So I'm counting it as a win. Okay, I didn't take my max loss. I didn't have to sell my shares for a loss. I just collected my premium. If we want to go back and change that, happy to.
Dillon,
I traded HPQ.
Dillon, did you just trade HPQ and not tell us?
I traded HPQ. I traded HQP on all credits.
Oh no, your microphone's all messed up now.
Well, I want to think that it's your fault. Is it any better? Okay, let's. All right, call credit spread. Here's why. Look, I collected $9 in premium. It was on the watch list and probably fell off right after my order filled. Took profit or paid $1 back. All right, at the roll on Friday. So $1 debit. Took $8 home there. Not something to write home about, but still a W. And I was bullish with a put credit spread on Coca-Cola. Didn't go well for me. I was trying to stay above $69. I'm not exactly sure where they finished, but I ended up taking a $13 loss on that position. So 2 for 3 if we're counting my Walmart win. Overall gain loss on the week was $26 out of 50 earned. However, note I do have a pretty brutal unrealized loss right now on my Walmart shares. I think in the range of to the tune of like $1,200. So, and you can see my picks for this week: 1 put spread, 2 call spreads. So Thomas went. I doubt his thing's updated. We'll look, but I think Thomas went 2 for 3 as well.
Yeah, not updated. Come on, Thomas. Updated.
Come on, Thomas. If you're up and watching this, we're upset.
He's definitely
So, all right, that's PeakBot Picks. Ben, well done. You're crushing the new contest.
Thank you.
And
might be a good time to mention there are some updates coming to Trend Spread. So
tell them about it.
While we are actually, let me get the watch list up to help further illustrate. Because I'm a fan of these new updates, and we've actually had enough people telling us that they're actually trading manually like this and not trading off of the watch list detail. So here's the deal. When you look at the watch list right now, you're going to see a budget, right? And that budget is essentially the size of the spread. Let me look. Actually, simple trend spread's fine. That budget is going to be the size of the spread. So if we look at SPY here, which is the first line, go over here, we would sell the 571 strike and buy the 580 strike. So that creates a $9 spread. Now, you could go through this whole list, and actually let's sort by budget. Netflix has a huge budget of $4,000. I mean, there's a $40 wide spread. I mean, you'd be collecting $1,000 in premium. So that's a pretty good return right there in itself. But what we're finding is, and what some of the feedback we've been getting is, even though there's some nice premium there on weeks that you're wrong, and actually we see it on my TXN position when I took a $5 wide spread, I wasn't upset with that loss, but the loss could have been less. So what we're doing now is we're tightening up the spreads. We're still going to sell the 30 delta, but instead of buying the 10 delta, we're just going to buy the next closest strike. So we're really going to limit the loss potential by limiting the width of the spread. And then we're still going to be able to sort this watch list however we want to sort it. So if you sort it by ROI, you'll be able to see for, it's going to go in increments of $1 for tickers that have strikes every $1. We're probably going to skip 50 cents just because that's not as consistent across tickers that do have 50-cent strikes. We actually just saw it on HP where the call side did have 50-cent increments, but the put side did not yet have 50-cent increments. So we'll probably stick to $1. Some tickers, the minimum distance is $2.50. Some tickers, it's $5. And then I don't know if there are any on trend spread that are $10. So I think it's just going to be $1 wide, $2.50 wide, and $5 wide is what you're going to see. And then, like I said, you can sort by ROI and see for your dollar, for every dollar you're putting up, how much are you going to get back? And there are some good options here. Like we've got Kraft Heinz, $1 budget. You're going to earn 19 in premium. That's a 19% ROI. So you're going to make $19 for risking 100 at a, well, we don't have pop on this list. So let me open the detailed list here.
I'll get us out of the way.
There we go. All right, so Southwest is the example here. $100 risk, $10 premium, 10%, and we've got a 77% pop. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. So those changes are coming to the trend spread bot. Also more friendly for those that like to just kind of set and forget, although bots aren't necessarily set and forget cool. It will, alleviate some of the spots, still give enough opportunity.
Cool. Mark, were you having a little trouble hearing Ben at the end there?
I was too. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Nothing you could do, probably.
No, you're back.
Well, okay. Yeah, it goes in and out. No worries. Very helpful. Very exciting updates coming to Trend Spread. For those of you who've been around, our partner and affiliate, Arlissa, over at E2T, crushes the trend spread bot and does it manually, kind of like we're talking about. Goes to a little bit of a lower delta, takes the smallest spread available, and crushes it. Went 16 for 18 last week. All right, let's learn something. Yeah,
let's do it.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's flip on over. We're gonna hand the keys of the car over to Mark. He's going up to the top slot here, and I'll shut up. I'll hand it over to you guys.
Yeah, so extending trades for better outcomes, otherwise known as rolling. And rolling's kind of a unique feature of derivatives in general, right? It's not exclusively limited to options. You can roll with futures and other Delta One instruments, but the idea of rolling is necessitated by the fact that options expire, futures expire. That's different than a stock. If you own underlying stock, that doesn't expire. You're up and down, but there's no final date when P&L gets marked or your position expires or settles into something else. So rolling's a unique feature because of expiration. And so a lot of the kind of questions around this come of when's the best time to time your roll? You've obviously got to do it before expiration, but how much farther in advance do you do that? Do you wait until the very end? These are some of the questions that come up with rolling. And it can be extending a trade because it's in a loss scenario, or it can be rolling into a winner too, right? There are definitely reasons to continue to extend a trade's life if you believe that, your thesis continues to want you to be exposed to a shorter, long volatility position in that name. So rolling can happen, in, for example, a covered call type position. If stock closes above your short call strike, you might want to continue to have that trade on. So you buy in the near month contract that's expiring and you sell a further out month. That's kind of known as rolling out. But you can also roll up and out, selecting a higher strike and going further out in time. In a covered call scenario, you might also want to roll when the trade is going the other way, where, if stock's going down and you're, long Walmart at 100, short the 105 call, Walmart, trickles down to 95. You might want to take that short 105 call, buy that in, and sell an option with a little bit more premium. So that's a way that you can extend that trade, collect a little more premium, whether you do it in the same month or, go out another month. Those are all the kind of, art questions that, you've got to ask yourself when you're looking at a position. Usually you don't want to wait until expiration Friday when everything's settling. Often you want to target a roll that's going to still give a little bit of that extrinsic value in your existing position. Obviously in that covered call scenario, if something's gone completely to zero, there's not much to roll in that scenario other than closing your short. But in general, I think the best time to roll is a couple days before expiration. You're definitely locking some stuff in by doing that, but we generally don't want to wait until the final settlement to kind of extend the trade time here. So rolls help solve a lot of different position management issues. And you want to be able to you have to ask yourself the question, is this a position I continue to want on? Obviously yep. I have this forced kind of decision because of the expiration date of that option, but it's a chance to evaluate, do I still like this position? Do I still want to be long or short these options or this structure in this name? And then adjust appropriately.
Yep. I want to talk about, I'll talk about what I like to do for rolling in a second. Dillon, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Before we do that, let's take a quick break. Can we get that banner up on screen to talk about the Tradier Options Summit? And let's get that. I think the banner will be put up by our producer. We've got the Tradier Options Summit coming up in just a couple of weeks. Join us on April 9th from 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. All three of us here are going to be participating in this event. If we scroll down here, we can take a look at the daily schedule. We've got Dan Raju, the CEO of Tradier, kicking off the event with some great speakers. We got Rob Hoffman with Wealth Charts, Kirk with Option Alpha. Keep going down. We're going to see Dillon and myself from 2:15 to 3 o'clock talking about eliminating emotional trading through automation. As we know, emotion is one of the main things that get in the way of people winning trades. You can be emotional and just sell too early and miss out on profit, or hold too long and miss out on gain. So bots are here to help you avoid that. And then later on, we've got an expert panel with, as you can see, yours truly, Mark Phillips, participating in that panel, talking about the future of portfolio management. Mark, has there been any sort of primer for you as to what are the topics that you guys are going to dig into?
We're going to talk a little bit about generally AI and a lot of these like technological advances, and not only how that changed where you want to invest in the market, but also how you want to think about investing and what kind of tools, what kind of strategies this opens up, and generally kind of the evolution of trading thanks to some pretty significant advances in technology over the last couple of years.
Yeah. Awesome. Excellent. I'm going to get the link here shown up. So it's summit.tradier.com. All right. Free to sign up. Check it out. Let me get this on screen here. Summit.tradier.com. The future of trading, again, April 9th. Goes all day pretty much, but sign up, get your name and email in there. And there's going to be a lot of fantastic information covered. I'm sure there's some giveaways and some other things going on. So feel free to join us. Sign up at summit.tradier.com.
Awesome. All right. Back to the good stuff. So extending trades for better outcomes. We're talking about rolling. I like to roll on our weeklies, specifically trend spread. If I'm going to roll a position, if I like a play that I'm in and it's not going my way, I like to roll on Wednesdays, usually Wednesdays midday. So that way I still have the rest of the day Wednesday. I've got all day Thursday, and then I've got all day Friday left in extrinsic value, like Mark was talking about. You still want to have some meat on the bone there.
Well, let's talk about that. Right now, our trend spread bot rolls on Friday at noon with the contract expiring that day. So it's at the end. And, as bot providers, as algo providers, we're constantly adjusting our strategies. Maybe that's a conversation for us in the future. But what do you guys think? I mean, we're only working with what is likely a 3 DTE to a 7 DTE contract on trend spread.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think there's a future where we adjust that roll time?
I don't know. We would have to see, because we do take profit,
Yeah.
and I think that we will work in a stop loss to the trend spread eventually. We'll have to see where a good balance is there, but yeah, I'm not too sure if that makes its way into the bot or not. I feel like that's a bit discretionary.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mark, what are your thoughts overall? When do you like to roll, Mark, on these contracts if you're in a position?
Rolling's really, really hard. You know, like there's a science to trading, and there are a lot of pretty good rules of thumbs that you can think about stuff. But when it comes down to rolling, it really is an art. And one of the hard things about, like, no matter what the strategy is, like every time you roll, you're kind of locking in a level in the market. And so like in that covered call example, if you roll too early and stock falls back down, if it, you know, you're kind of locking in that more elevated level. Conversely, if it drops and you roll down, you kind of pinch yourself the other way. So like all market timing decisions, it's really difficult. But generally, I think, you know, some good rules are you want to make sure you're rolling when there's you still believe in the position. Don't just roll for the sake of it, right? You got to ask yourself that first. But then I also like rolling when there's a little bit more time on the clock still. Don't wait until the final close. You know, if you're doing a very short-term strategy, you know, maybe that's only a matter of days. But if you have a more longer-term position, you know, you could be rolling a week out before expiration. So I think it kind of depends exactly on what the strategy is. But really that number one thing is like, don't just roll for the sake of it. Decide whether the current market speaks to maintaining that position.
No, you're 100% right. And you got to love it. You got to know what you're doing. You got to be careful. You got to keep an eye on things. Doug says, for me, it depends on how much option volume you typically see. On lower liquidity, he'll roll a bit sooner. Totally makes sense.
Good point. Good point.
For me, with the bot, right, for trend spread, there's, again, what I like to do is I'm busy, right, as most of us are. So I might not have the time Thursday or Friday coming into the end of the contract for these trend spread trades. And when the trade would roll noon on Friday, I don't always have the time to go in and look at the data right before entry. So I set my trend spread bot to smart exit immediately upon setting them up, meaning it's going to handle the trade as it would, and it's not going to roll unless I activate it the time before I go back in and let it roll. So the other thing to keep in mind is with trend spread, if you're going to let it roll your contract, of course, if there's nothing left, if there's no value left in that option, in that contract, it's just going to let it expire. Okay. If there is value, it'll close it and open up your new contract for the expiration of the following Friday. But it goes with the trend, okay, to follow the name of the strategy. Meaning, if you're on a Bank of America put credit spread this week, it's because it found it as a bullish setup on the watch list. However, Bank of America may shift into a more neutral state, a more neutral trend. And the following week, if it's neutral on the watch list, it's going to roll live from a put spread into a condor for the following week. Or if it was bearish, into a call credit spread. So it follows the trend. It goes with you. So again, this isn't something you want to set and forget, but there is, you know, a bot that's going to make the decision based on the trend there. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind when you're trading these strategies. Smart exit's a good tool to use.
So if you're wondering how you go about rolling a position on Tradier, here's a quick tutorial. We're going to use my silver position just as an example. So I've got my silver position. If I go to the chain here, I type in SLV, and I'm looking at the expirations that I have sold here. Oh, did I do what's this Friday, the 21st? I didn't know silver had Monday, Wednesday, Friday expirations.
Yeah, they added silver, gold, TLT, I think. couple months back.
Gotcha. Very interesting. Okay. So I've got this Friday's expiration. We can see here that I've got a sold strike at $30, and then I've got a bought strike at $29. So I would want to buy this one back, sell this one. That's going to effectively close that position. And then if I wanted to roll this out to a further expiration, I would then go ahead and change my expiration date to next Friday, for example. And then let's just say I wanted the same strikes. I just wanted to give myself a little bit more time. I would then go ahead and sell the 30, buy the 29, send that to my ticket. And then you can see here, I would have to change this to buy to close, sell to close, update the quantities to my quantity that I want. And then there we go. For all of that, I'm going to get roughly 7 cents in credit for rolling that spread out 1 week. Now, this is going to change when the market opens in 20 minutes, but at least using the data available now, that's what it would come out to be. But those are the steps you would have to go through. Other brokers are different. There's, I'm sure, plenty of tutorials available online on how to roll your positions with other brokers.
Excellent. Very helpful. And by the way, I was on mute earlier, but I was saying Ben's going to be in the lab trying to cook up something for these Monday, Wednesday, Friday expiries now, I feel like, on silver and gold, etc. But awesome. Very cool. Rolling important. Got to know what you're doing. Got to keep an eye on it. If your bot's doing it, know what's going on. So, all right. Do we want to take a quick look at economic events? We touched on this on Friday's Automation Station show. I'm not sure if there's any new news, but maybe worth looking at quick. I see, Ben, you're pulling it up. I'll pull it on screen here if you'd like.
That'd be great.
Okay.
So today we've got some retail sales data that already came through pre-market. Looking ahead to 10 o'clock, looks like just some standard data. Not too much going on today. So my hope is that our condors that we opened on Friday coming into today will win, and do well. I haven't looked at the futures yet this morning. Mark, I'm sure you have. How are we looking so far?
Pretty flat right now. I think I just saw them down about 2 points. We were down as much as 15 points this morning. So after a huge ripper yesterday or Friday, they've been pretty quiet.
Well, it's better than the last couple Mondays we've had, that's for sure. Opening up to a bloodbath on Monday morning. So anyways, hopefully we stay flat for the sake of our condors. That's what I'm looking forward to. But then going into tomorrow, we've got some building data, some housing data. Tomorrow is the start of FOMC. We've got a 20-year bond auction. So the start of FOMC means we usually turn our condors off. A lot of bots will be turned off for FOMC. Going into Wednesday, that's the big FOMC day. Other than that, other than the interest rate decision, Fed economic projections, not too much else going on that day. But we got Jay Powell speaking at 2:30. But again, all of that is enough for us to turn a lot of our bots off. Going into Thursday, we've got the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index, which sometimes condors are off for that. I think those will be on this week. We've got existing home sales, which marks itself as high importance on TradingView. And then going into Friday looks like a fairly quiet day. So hopefully finish out the week on a good note there.
Awesome. Mark, anything of note for you outside of what we just covered this week?
No, I mean, I think Friday's signal was pretty interesting. All last week, despite some of that chop, we saw like the VIX continue to really come in. And I think, a VIX just a little bit over 20 now is a lot different than a VIX that's approaching 30. So it's going to be interesting to watch and see whether this is kind of the pause before a resumption in, what's been a 2-3 year bull market, or is this the pause before we hit another leg down? So I think, we're very much on the precipice between multiple regime changes. So no matter what you're kind of looking to do out there, I would stay nimble. That's always true in markets. but that's particularly true when we're, obviously in a shifting environment.
Absolutely. Very well said. I think that does it here for us, fellas. Unless there's anything else that we wanted to cover. Again, a great stocks in real life segment on HP, not just HPQ, HPE as well, what we learned today. Talked about rolling our contracts, took a look at the economic events. We will be back this time, same place, next Monday morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Additionally, we go live Fridays at 11:55 a.m. Eastern for our second show, The Automation Station, with myself, Ben, and Thomas. We go over our PeakBot picks, contest, etc. So if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us, ourselves, Mark. We're always here. We're in your corner. Happy to answer anything you need. We're here because we work together in a great partnership to provide you professionally managed portfolios. All right, so go to peakbot.com/harvested to get signed up. All run through your Tradier account, okay? No having to pick stocks, no having to pick strategies, all managed for you via Mark and Harvested Financials. So peakbot.com/harvested, check it out. Filling a huge gap there for the retail trader. Guys, anything else before we get out of here?
All set.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And as always, we'll see you at the peak. Take care, everybody.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.